My name is Madeline June Sampson. That is my Christian name. My tribal name or my Indian name is Tawaswapam Tiwiwas. Translated, it means little sister, the bow that cannot be broken. And I'm a Yakima tribal member from Eastern Washington. My family moved around during harvest time, and there was other children from cousins and sisters, siblings, and there was no child care or babysitting. And since I was the youngest female, I was just elected to take care of the littles in the household. So in conflict with change on the reservation, my grandmother and my mom, they didn't look upon schooling as anything that they were interested in or considering for their children. It was just what they told me was a white man education was no good for Native people. My mother was told to go to the tribal agency, which is in Toppenish, and we had to go talk to the BIE agent, I guess. I don't really know what they're called. But when I arrived at the office, they sent all my family out of the room, and I was in there with that government person, and he told me I had to fill out a form for boarding school. Or he didn't even say boarding school, he said I had to fill out some forms, and that he had done all of that for me, and all I had to do was sign my name. So I just did what he asked me to. I signed my name on that form, and he left the office, and I thought I was done. But later he came back with a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, I don't know what he gave me. But he told me I had to submit a letter to the school why I wanted to go. And he just left the items on the table, and I sat there quite confused because I didn't understand what he was talking about. All I remember was him saying that why I wanted to go, and I assumed it meant go to the bathroom. So I looked at my pencil on the table, I picked it up. I'm gonna go because I want to relieve myself. I didn't understand the question, and there was no explanation. He came back for the note and told me to sign it, and that was my admitting on paper that I wanted to go away. Just the very next day after I submitted that note, that my mother was told to go shopping and get me some school clothes because I was going away. And the voucher that they gave her wasn't even enough for the items that I needed. When we arrived at the bus station the very next morning, it was a shock of my life because I assumed that the boarding school I was going to was Chemawa, which is in Oregon. But when I looked at my bus ticket and pulled it out of the envelope, it all unfolded like an accordion. It really just kept growing. And I said, wow. And I quickly put it back, stuck it back, and I looked up at my mom and I was gonna tell her, I don't want to go, but she said, stay next to the bus driver, stay right behind him, and don't get, left at any other bus stop. And it was really scary to me because I didn't leave by myself ever. I was always with my family. My arrival on campus was very awakening. When I got my dorm place of living, I was shocked because it was a military base living, or just rows, 3 big rows of bedding all the way down from one end to the other. All female lived in that military dormitory. And I've never lived in that manner before. I was afraid to sleep. I was afraid to change. Everybody was stranger and everyone was the same and hesitant to talk. But there were a lot of little girls, little tiny toddler, like the enrollment was from 1st grade to 8th grade. And there were very few 8th graders there. There was maybe 6 of us, maybe. And all the rest were just little teeny tiny girls, and from all different tribal affiliation. Some were very friendly, but they were all like me. We never really talked a lot. We were more scared of each other and being in the strange building. Some had arrived before I got there, and some were still coming. So everything was so new and strange. There were a lot of strict regulation. The whole system of Concho was military style. Everything was done by the clock and in an orderly fashion, and everyone went the same places together. We had to line up according to grade level. We never got to go outside of that group. We went in lineup to breakfast, lunch, to class, to dinner. And we did have recreation time, but it was just limited to like an hour after dinner. So everything was controlled and supervised by staff. There were other kids who were on campus, had been there before, the older, like 4, 5, and 6. Some of them were returning students, and they knew the routine, and they ran off from school. And when they were brought back, we didn't see them right away, but we knew they were back on campus somewhere. So most of us were too afraid to even try to think of walking off, because we knew something was happening to those that did wander off campus. When I was at Concho, there were no communications from home. I didn't know from the day I left to the day that I graduated from there that what was going on. Somehow I figured I needed goals and direction. So I needed to figure out how to become independent instead of relying on being home all the time. I had to figure out how to get out and what would keep me going. And that's why I filled out the application for Shalako. It was comparing education at a boarding school where everything was consistent and grounded, even though it was so awful. They had a mailing list for students who were able to receive letters and packages, but like all military or prison, everything was checked out and opened and edited for us. So there was, like, we couldn't read anything. If a loved one passed away, it'd be inked out, or divorce happened, it was inked out. So we never got bad news from home, probably to keep us there at the school so we wouldn't run off. Every year of high school, there were different complications or situations that would arise. A lot of resistance for some of the older students that were newbies. They retaliated and resisted authority and fought. And when we had to witness those encounters, it was really frightening, because to see your own peers beaten in public was very harsh. I mean, they handcuffed them after they beat them. They handcuffed them down in the basement without lights and without, the only food were given were water and bread. I would have, in conclusion, to never give up. Don't give up on yourself. Always remember you are here, and even though our ancestors suffered greatly, we are still here. We are still determined to move on and go forward. No one can push us back. And being resilient means bending with the trend and picking ourselves back up if we fall, and just don't ever quit, don't ever. What I tell the littles is take care of yourself. First of all, take care of yourself. Don't give yourself up to anything. And coming to school is another privilege, because when the mind is open, there's no shutting it down and no going back, and you can only move forward, and there's better things ahead. To take care of yourself first, take care of your area, because with your home life, family life, all of those things are necessary to get strong. Then to take care of the community of where you are. Get involved, get into a group, find your friends, find out what you're good at, a talent, and just stay in it. And people will come to you, people will find you and encourage you, and you'll encourage each other to be together, be strong.